Thank you, Chairman Risch and Chairman Ranking Member Menendez and members of the committee. It's a true privilege to appear before you today. I'm especially grateful to Senator Portman and Young for their overly generous introduction. I'm also honored and humbled that President Trump, at the recommendation of Secretary Pompeo, has nominated me to serve as Undersecretary for Economic Growth, Energy, and the Environment, affectionately referred to as the E. I would like to thank all 7 of the former E's and the incredible State Department team who spent their valuable time with me sharing their insights on this important role. As a global businessman, I can tell you it is a strategic asset to have the finest diplomatic corps in the world in your corner, whether it's here or abroad. I also want to thank my family for being here today. My dear wife, Meta, who's a Georgetown lawyer and serves on their board, and our 5 children, Monica, a marine biologist, Steve, a spacecraft design engineer at NASA, Carter, a Silicon Valley tech entrepreneur, and our 7-year-old twins, JD and Emma, whose courage, kindness, and sense of justice inspires me every day. My story starts like that of many Americans. I grew up in small-town Ohio, where my father ran a machine shop and my mother was a teacher. My dad's customers were suppliers of the big 3 car companies in Detroit, and his fortunes were tied to theirs. At age 12, I became a welder in his shop and soon learned how to work all the machines. In good times, he employed as many as 5 workers, whom he treated as family. In bad times, I was his only employee and saw him go through the agonizing process of having to lay off his trusted team. His pain was not lost on me. My father dreamed that I would get some college knowledge and return as an engineer to help him grow the machine shop into a big company of 10 employees. While I did become an engineer, I never went back to work with my dad, but I believe he was proud that I joined the biggest company in the world, General Motors, which he had taken to calling Generous Motors after they gave me a full ride to Purdue and to Harvard Business School. 10 years at GM gave me the chance of a lifetime to work at the Cadillac Plant, Tech Center, New York Treasurer's Office, and pioneer the emerging field of robotics by starting a joint venture that is the largest industrial robotics manufacturer in the world today. That taste of high-tech innovation inspired me to risk it all and move out west to become an entrepreneur. In my eyes, Silicon Valley is the West Point of capitalism, a corporate United Nations, a total meritocracy, and a place where failure is recognized as the best teacher. My Silicon Valley journey began at RASNA, where we invented mechanical design synthesis that enables engineers around the world, like my rocket scientist son, to optimize designs in real time. I then went on to start another company called Ariba, taking it public as the world's first business-to-business e-commerce company. My ultimate aim was to create a values-based driven company that was built to last. Now, $1.7 trillion in transactions go through the Ariba network each year, more than Amazon, eBay, and Alibaba combined. My mother taught me that a truly meaningful career is about giving back and paying it forward. So after some initial success, I worked with the biggest global issuer of microloans, and I would take my family along on journeys to some of the most poverty-stricken places in the world to hand out microloans. I will never forget being in the slums of Mumbai after 12-year-old Carter handed an 18-year-old single mother of a crippled child a $50 loan to purchase a sewing machine. And he said, "I get it now, Dad. We're not giving them fish. We're teaching them how to fish." My children saw firsthand that economic empowerment and entrepreneurship can truly have a transformative impact on families and communities. That same concept is what makes the E-mission so meaningful to me. I also had a chance to give back to my alma mater, Purdue, where I had the honor of serving as chairman of the Board of Trustees and recruiting Governor Mitch Daniels to be our president. I'm particularly proud that Mitch is now recognized by the Wall Street Journal as America's most innovative university president. But even more so, that we have frozen tuition for the last 7 years, working to address the $1.5 trillion student debt crisis. I eventually went back to building another company called DocuSign. And after recently completing 10 years, it's now a public company with more than 400 million users in 188 countries. And as Senator Young pointed out, along the way, we saved 20 billion pieces of paper. This Ohio boy, who began his journey welding parts and later had the good fortune of welding together billion-dollar companies, has had the blessing of a true all-American dream. But even this dreamer could have never imagined that one day he might be presented with an opportunity to give back to this great nation, which has given him so much. If confirmed, it would be the privilege of my life to serve the country and pay it for this next generation of Americans. I fully appreciate the enormity and gravity of this role, especially in a time where the reality we face as a nation is of ever-increasing cyber warfare and seemingly ceaseless variations of intense, perhaps even weaponized economic competition. As you know, our rivals are playing the long game, and they're playing for keeps. A four-dimensional game of economic, military, diplomatic, and cultural chess with little respect for human rights, intellectual property, international law, transparency, the environment, or sovereignty of nations. In order to prevail, we must play the game better and take economic statecraft to the next level. There is no substitute for American diplomacy. I believe the team with the best people wins, and that diversity of thought is the catalyst for genius. With that aim in mind, if confirmed, I will work side by side at all levels with our preeminent diplomatic corps and with each of you in a meaningful way, benefiting from your experience, your insights, and your wisdom. If confirmed, I will work tirelessly and strategically here and around the world to optimize economic growth, energy security, and the health of our planet for the sake of advancing the interests of our citizens and maximizing our national security. Thank you so very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Krach.
Mr. Krach, I must tell you, I've listened to many statements before our committee, and yours was one of the most impressive I've heard about your history. Certainly on entrepreneurship, you bring incredible talent to this position. It just shows that learning welding skills can do you well in life. So I might go back and try to figure out how to become a welder.